Hello and welcome back to the Calculator Review, hosted on Caliquin.com. It's day 13 of Calculatober, and today's calculator isn't really exactly a calculator, it's the Cybiko, also known as the Cybiko Classic. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing that right. There's not a whole lot of information about this thing. All I know is it comes from Russia, or it was developed in Russia and sold in the US and around the year 2000. It only lasted about a year, but they sold over 500,000 of these things. And how? I don't know, because this is not a good device. First of all, it looks just hideous. It looks like it's designed for your hand, but I'm not really sure which hand it's supposed to be for. It feels more like it's for the left hand just because of this groove, but let me bring the camera out so I can show this a little better. I needed the camera in to show what's going on the screen. Anyway, so holding it in the left hand isn't really comfortable for selecting things, like trying to press these buttons. It feels like it's made for the left hand, but in the right hand, it's more comfortable to get to the buttons, but less comfortable to hold it. So I don't really know what they were going for. I'm guessing the left hand, and in the right hand, you use the stylus, which would lead one to think that this was a touchscreen, but in fact it's not. You actually use the stylus to press these tiny buttons here, which are just big enough for a finger, but if you have really heavy fat fingers, it's probably going to be terrible. So they did include the stylus to make it a little easier. Aside from that, I had to pull out the batteries because they are these weird proprietary things. I've never seen these in any other device before. And these have long since expired. They don't work at all. So I've taken them out, and if they're in this thing, then they cause all kinds of problems. So I found it easier to just leave them out for the sake of messing around with this thing. So anyway, let's turn it on. I've got it plugged in to an AC adapter, and it's pretty hit or miss whether it's actually going to turn on or not. So let's see. Okay. So at first you get this messed up display, and okay, cool, it loaded. So sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to bring the camera down so I can show the screen a little bit better. Hopefully this looks okay. It takes a little while to load, and it says every day download one new application or game for free. This may have been true back in the year 2000. But as far as I know, today it's not. I can't get this thing to connect to the internet. I don't know what it uses. I'm guessing my current wireless setup just isn't compatible with it. So here's the main menu, the main desktop as it's called. The first option on the far left is this you and me thing. And every application that you open has this little scrolling text thing just explaining what the application is. And if you can't read it, don't worry, it's not that important. And so you hit enter again and wait for it to load. And so here's where you can put in your profile information. So I don't know whose information this is. This device was actually new when I purchased it. I was the first person to open the box, so I don't know how there's... Oh. So, hobby, Cybiko. I'm guessing this is just a default profile that they have in here. So, yeah, you can select different reasons for using... Sports, chat, other, business, romance... Okay, so yeah, that's to create your own profile. You can put your basic statistics. Then there's this about me, which I did actually put some stuff in, and I put in inaccurate information, so So that's strange that there's an About You and an About Me page, and they have different information. I don't know what that's about. Let's see what this My Sigh page is. Oh yeah, here you can just type in a bunch of stuff. And actually this is a good time to show how much of a pain it is to write anything here. So I'm just going to write, hello, I am a calculator. So these buttons are very spongy and they don't feel very responsive at all. They're quite awful. So I don't want to save those changes. Okay, and I don't know what the business card is. You'd probably just put in business information if you were to use these to contact people in business. There is a chat function which is kind of neat. This can communicate directly with another Cybiko device. Unfortunately, I don't have one, and I don't know anybody who does, so I can't use this. Here's the email function. Again, I can't use it because I can't connect this thing to the internet. Then there's the side community thing. Well, let's see if I can access anything here. Okay, so this will allow me to connect to other devices if they happen to be nearby. So let's see. Let's see if there's anyone. Yeah, no one is in the local wireless network. Try again later. I'm never going to try it again. So that would be to find other people in the Cybiko community, of which there are none. Applications, I'll come back to this, as well as games, and check out the settings real quick. So here's just basic settings. You can set a password. Why would I want that? You can set brightness and contrast, but honestly they make basically no difference because this is just a plain LCD screen with no backlight. You can turn off sounds and stuff. Yeah, nothing terribly interesting there, and different settings for the clock and applications, but I'm not going to bother messing with those because they're just not very interesting. So anyway, let's go back to the applications real quick. Well, not real quick. This is kind of one of the main things about this. So there's an address and phone book. Nothing terribly interesting there. But then the second option is this graphic editor. So let's load that up. And I love it when devices like this try to pack in as much as they can, and this one certainly does. So let's take a look at this. I'm just going to call it P for now. Alright, so to draw with this thing, you only get black and white, but to draw, you hold down Enter, and then go 1 pixel at a time to draw. And you have to be careful not to go too fast because otherwise you'll just get dots. So you have to press 1 at a time to get solid lines. This is awful. This is absolutely not fun to use at all. This is not something I would ever use to design graphics. Not that I do a lot of that in the first place. So yeah, that's enough of that. And I'm not going to save that work because it's not good. Then there's an organizer. Let's take a look at that. Again, you gotta wait for a lot of loading. So here you can, it is basically a calendar, but because I have it set in the current date, yeah, so it's still set to 1 January, Saturday. I believe this is the year 2000. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not gonna look it up. You can if you want. Alright, so, yeah, it's saving data that I didn't input, so whatever. Alright. Then there's a text editor and journal, and this is a lot like that thing I showed with the profile, where you can just write stuff. Nothing really interesting going on there, and I really don't feel like typing into this again. Oh, the music composer. This one's interesting. Now, if you've heard these beeps already, you've heard what this thing is capable of as far as sound goes. So let's create a new song. N-E-W, and I'm not a music composer, especially not on the Cybiko, so and yeah, that's pretty much all it's capable of doing. You can also add rests by using the space button. I'm not sure how long the song can go, but what's really annoying about this is it doesn't tell you which keys actually do anything. So there's a range. So it looks like it stops at K, U, 7. So this line right here and then alright, so let's hear this song. Fascinating, right? So yeah, that's the music composer. Sure, I'll keep my song. Though I don't think it's actually going to save it, because one thing I haven't gone into is there's an expansion slot down here at the bottom where you can stick in either an MP3 player card or a 1 megabyte card. And I guess the 1 megabyte card will allow you to run additional stuff and save more. I don't know. I don't have either of those cards. So I just leave this protective cover on here. I don't know how much information you can store on here. That song was 76 bytes. I can't imagine it's more than maybe 500 kilobytes total. I'm not going to bother with LCD setup or uploading file manager. There's an English to Spanish translator, so let's check that out. I actually have not looked at this yet. We can find out what calculator is in Spanish. Input language will be English. Select dictionary. Okay. Very slow. Okay, so it can translate the word calculate, which is calcular. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I honestly don't know. I don't know Spanish. But yeah, so it only has calculate, but not calculator. So, oh well. So yeah, that's the Spanish to, or English to Spanish dictionary. You can also do Spanish to English. Typing in is incredibly slow and tedious because it searches for words with every single letter you input here. So typing out a long word like calculate, as you can see, took quite a while. Yeah, so there's also a phrase book. Hobbies, interests. Let's see if we can... how do you usually spend your free time? ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre? Again, I don't know the language. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But there you go. So yeah, that's the English to Spanish dictionary, or Spanish to English dictionary. Yeah, loading is incredibly tedious. And finally, we get to the calculator. Alright, so you can select numericals here with these keys, and then to select, well, let's just do some math. So 6, oh, yeah, so to add you have to do shift plus 8, and then equals. It's very bare bones functionality here, but in order to use any of these functions up here, you have to hold down the shift key, which, let's see if it can do to the power of 7. Nope. Okay. Yeah. So some of these functions don't actually do anything. It's just the multiply and... oh, here's divide. Nope. Nope. Wow, this is terrible. I don't know where the divide key is. Oh, maybe this is it. Okay. And it looks like this might not actually be capable of... okay, yeah, it is. I thought it wasn't able to do fractions. But yeah, this calculator is atrocious. Like most of the other things on this Cybiko. So, that's enough of the calculator. Now, there are a number of games that this includes, and I'll show some of them. Not all of them, because they all kind of are the same, and you'll understand what I mean in a moment. So, Pinball is probably the most interesting of the games, so we'll start with that one. To play this game, you hold down the Enter button, well, once it loads up. So you hold down the Enter button, and then that launches it. And then to use the left and right paddle, you just press left or right. This is quite possibly the most boring version of Pinball I have ever played, but it's pretty smooth. But because of these 3 balls right here, it's really hard to do anything other than hit them. Oh. Yeah, so very rarely will you actually get the ball up in this area, which is where a lot of interesting things go on. So, yeah, it's not good. Waiting for it to load. Lost in the Labyrinth is uninteresting. I don't know what Rover is. Whatever. Oh, Men's Room 2. This one I thought was strange. I don't know why they called it that, and you'll see why. It's just a very bare-bones version of Breakout, but with toilet themes. It's not remotely challenging to play it. It's just boring. The ball never moves that fast. Yeah, so it's not at all difficult to keep the ball in play. So yeah, that I'm already bored. Ugh. Dartz, no. Actually, I'll come back to that one in a moment. Cylandia looked like some sort of RPG of sorts, but all it shows is the introduction to the game, and then says you can download it. But because I can't access the internet with this, I can't download it and find out more. Yeah, so probably the best game on here is Sigh Race. Any day now. Okay, here we go. And to be honest, this is actually a fairly impressive game. It manages to be fully three-dimensional. Well, sort of. But again, because it's so slow, it's not fun. It's not challenging. I don't feel very engaged here. There's no brake button or anything. You just hold down the inner button to go forward. And then you're given plenty of room to turn. So turns are never much of an issue. So you're given plenty of time and plenty of space to move about the track. And it's really more just a game of attrition. Like, how long are you willing to play before you just stop caring and just stop playing? Oh, I'm going off the track a little bit, but it's okay, I didn't really lose any speed. Oh, yeah, I occasionally hit the no batteries thing. Not a big deal. So yeah, that's Cybiko Race or whatever it's called. Oh, no, I don't want to restart. Crap. Okay. Sigh Race, yeah. So yeah, nothing's good here. It's all terrible. The design sucks. Oh, there are these buttons up at the top, but all these do is just select different things from the main desktop. So like, see, I accidentally selected the chat thing, but I can also check out the games with these buttons. Very pointless buttons. There are a lot of buttons on here that you'll probably never use. Personally, I would say just don't use any of them, because don't use this device. What is this? Oh, this must be the Labyrinth game. Oh, this is actually... Oh, let me get this in better light, because this is kind of neat. You know what? I take back everything I said about this. This is amazing. Oh. So I thought Labyrinth was just going to be one of those games where you just move from one space to the next. I wasn't expecting it to be fully 3D. That's genuinely impressive. I'm trying to find an enemy and seeing how the combat feels. Okay, so turning, I'm already noticing here. Just pressing left will turn you completely. So if I just tap right... Oop, didn't go far enough. Oh, there's a map. Alright. I must have money before I can look at the map. Are you kidding me? Why tell me then? Oh, that's just... There's that no batteries thing again. So, yeah. I'm genuinely surprised. I never even bothered to look at Labyrinth because I really thought it was just from one screen to the next thing. That's kind of cool. And pretty impressive that this thing can do that. The original Game Boy wouldn't have been able to play that. So, congratulations, Cybiko. In the year 2000, you were more powerful than a device that came out in 1989. So, that's going to do it for the Cybiko. Like I said, it's not good. Not something I would ever recommend to anyone. Other than that Labyrinth game, like, that was kind of neat. But it wasn't fun, again. It was just this. And what a weird D-pad. What's this? What's this? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. This was a pretty neat device that I found at Goodwill, still sealed in its original packaging for I think like $7. I was really excited, and then when I actually used it I realized I should not have been excited because it sucks. So anyway, have a wonderful day. Bye!